feet of the chamber on them. And how do you do that? 4 to 6 seconds, 0.8 to 20 feet, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go.
Welcome to the Scoop World Order, 1 week from kickoff edition. It is Saturday. Northwestern has teed off the Big Ten season. That game is going on as we speak, as we record this. Football's back, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great, great day. We have some very exciting news about insight into Jim Knowles' game plan in terms of what he's going to do to Notre Dame. We have some outstanding recruiting content from the first couple of weeks of high school football. Kids that are committed to Ohio State, some kids that you really want to get to know because these kids are really impressive, especially Jelani Thurman. Jelani Thurman's tape is unbelievable. So super excited about that. I'm going to get right into it with Nevada. But as always, we are so thankful for you guys. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys are doing for us. Keep liking the content. Keep subscribing to the channel. Spread the word. I mean, it's really growing like crazy, especially over the last 2 weeks. So thank you guys so much as always. Comment, what do you want to see from the Jim Knowles defense week 1 versus Notre Dame? Do you want to see blitzing? Do you want to see man coverage, pressure? Can we get to the point where we lead the nation in sacks like Oklahoma State did last year under his direction? What do you want to see week 1? The Jim Knowles defense, who do you want to see starting at defensive end? Give me some of your thoughts. Leave them right down in the comments below. Appreciate you guys as always. That being said, I'm going to bring in my friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, how are you today?
Doing great. Got a little Nebraska Northwestern football on the television, and went to some great high school games last night here in Southern California, and just can't wait for the week. The week can't go by fast enough for Ohio State Notre Dame, and football's back, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The last preseason games are getting ready to be over with in the NFL. Cuts are going to be made, so the NFL season will be kicking off. But tell us a little bit. You've had a couple of great nuggets this week, but one that you've got that you're probably going to unleash in the next day or two. Tell me a little bit about Jim Knowles, his defense, the plan for the defense, and what potentially they could be doing to Notre Dame this week.
Well, I think the interesting thing through this fall camp is kind of seeing how Knowles was going to prepare for Notre Dame. And, they've done a lot of tape study. The first game of the season, that's the benefit you have is you get to do weeks and weeks and months of study. And I think that Ohio State's kind of come to the conclusion that Notre Dame doesn't have the kind of athletes that can really threaten them consistently on offense. And so as a result, Ohio State can play a higher risk type of defense, can probably blitz a little bit more, can probably bring a little bit more pressure, can probably try to challenge Notre Dame a little bit more because they feel like athletically Notre Dame does not stand up to Ohio State. And I think we're going to see the full complement of all the blitz packages from Knowles, and I couldn't be more excited because I feel like it's going to be a Freddie Puggich silver bullets type of defense return, and that's the type of defense that I've always had a fondness for, and I think we're going to see that next Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Jim Knowles, one of the perks of working with Mike Gundy and now Ryan Day is that when you have a really, really good offense on the other side of the ball, you can take more chances, and with risk comes reward. So I think that the way that the Oklahoma State unit led the nation in sacks last year is exciting because I think that our defensive front is just light years ahead in terms of talent versus that Oklahoma State front that didn't have any potential high draft picks. We have multiple potential high draft picks, especially with Jackson and JT2 and Maloau. I think it's going to be really outstanding to see what he can do with his simulated pressures, with his blitz packages, and with his zone blitzes. So super excited about that. The players, they practiced last night at Ohio Stadium to kind of get a feel for under the lights. I think it was a pretty light practice. It was somewhat surprising, but I think it shows how much Ryan Day is putting into this. He doesn't want to take anything to chance in terms of kids being caught in the bright lights of the horseshoe. Your thoughts on the fact that Ryan Day, instead of sending his coaching staff out to watch high school games, had them practicing in the stadium on Friday night?
Well, I think it just kind of speaks to what kind of a spectacle we're in for next Saturday. I mean, next Saturday, you've got the whole thing. You've got the national television audience. You've got the LeBron James. You're going to have every the ex-player there. I mean, it's going to be quite a show, and I think it shows the seriousness with which Ryan Day's treating this game, and I think it's also going to their recruiting approach for next week. They've got a ton of kids coming in, and Ohio State wants to showcase. They want to showcase what they can do on offense. They want to showcase what they can do on defense, and they want to establish themselves as one of the elite teams on both sides of the ball next Saturday night. And so I think it's a huge game for them on a number of different fronts. But I think Ohio State's viewing this as a showcase and an opportunity to really impress some kids that are maybe on the fence about whether they want to come to Ohio State. And I think games like this is why you're there. And I think Ryan Day is going to make sure that the existing players are ready and prepared and not overwhelmed by the bigness of the situation, because it's big. Make no mistake. It's the biggest home opener, the biggest opening game in Ohio State history that I can ever remember. And that's saying something, because there's been a long history of Ohio State football, but this is as big as it comes, and I can't wait for it to kick off.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think there's ever been a bigger home opener than this one, given the two top 5 teams week 1. I mean, I played in the Texas game in 05, that was probably the biggest regular season game I played in. It was probably the 1-2 Michigan game was something, but I mean, that Texas game with Vince Young, I mean, that was crazy, because I heard about that game for literally a year and a half straight, because Texas had beaten Michigan in the Rose Bowl. They're really good. They had Vince Young coming back, so that was a pretty incredible one. With the recruiting, what do you believe are the benefits and maybe some of the drawbacks to having a big night game at Ohio State? The visitor list is just it's 50 kids. I mean, it's insane right now. What are the drawbacks to that?
Well, I mean, first of all, the obvious drawback is, if by some chance you lose the game, then that's a bad thing. So let's take that one off the list, because we're not going to lose. But that's always a risk when you have one of those big weekends. Second is, late games like that, the kids aren't going to really have a big chance to kind of go out afterwards. You have a game at 12 or at 3:30 in the afternoon, and game's over by 6. You can meet them afterwards. They maybe even have some dinner, and then they go out. I mean, this game's not going to be over till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and by the time the post game gets done, and Ryan Day gets a chance to say hello or meet him or whatever, it's going to be 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I think you're losing some of that. But the benefits are you've got just the bright lights upon you, and that's every kid that's going out there, all the major kids want to play where the lights are brightest and on the biggest stage, and it just does not get any bigger than this Saturday night. But like I said, it's you got to win the game, and you got to look good winning the game, and if you do that, you take care of your business. Then I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, some of the biggest games. You mentioned that 06 1-2 game. Boy, we had an incredible visitor list for that game. 1-2, Ohio State wins the game, and I don't think we got a single kid from that weekend. So it definitely doesn't guarantee success, but games like this, you just got to roll the dice and take your chances. And I know I'm excited about it. And as an Ohio State fan, you just know that the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric, and it's going to be just fun to be part of that.
Yeah, I remember Joseph Barksdale sitting in our offensive line meetings before that, and that's part of the weirdness is there's kids like when I was playing, I mean, you're ready to go to war, man. I mean, there's no joshing around, messing around, whatever. But there's recruits, and the recruits are respectful. I mean, I never had an issue with any kid that was in there, but these kids are in there, and I mean, you're in there, it's life and death, man. I mean, trying to win that game, it is, you don't want to lose to Michigan in the 1-2 game. I know that. So there was a lot of stress, a lot of nerves, and I think it's really hard on these coaches. I mean, being someone that I've actually been in this situation as a coach, when you have kids in on official visits, or you have a 5-star kid in on an unofficial visit, the coaches during the day, they want to go over their game plans and watch a little bit more film, whatever. But then you also have to go see these kids. They're going to be hanging out at the Blackwell, walking through the hotel, and they're all going to want time with Ryan Day. They're all going to want time with their position coach, and for a guy like Mark Biantoni, you have to shepherd these kids around. You gotta, it's a very, very tough deal, and it's something that I personally hated, just because it's the number one priority for everybody is to win the game. It's not to spend the most time with some 5-star defensive end, but at the same flip, you got to get that 5-star defensive end. You got to show him love. You got to do it the best you can, even though the task at hand is beating Notre Dame. It's not winning the commit from a 5-star, but it's really a phenomenal juggling act to see these guys do it. I don't miss those days because it's like, any kid that you talk to or whatever, they're going to say, well, I got 30 minutes with Rande. What'd you get? Oh, I got 5 minutes. Oh, he said hi to me. Oh, he walked past me. Like, whatever. You always kind of balance what's enough versus what's not enough. And that's the hardest part about these visits when you have this many kids, man, is it is a monument. Who gets to sit at Rande's table for dinner after the game? Like, it's just funny like that because they'll be feeding these kids at midnight and they'll have some private room open, and it's tough. That being said, since we love our recruiting here on the Scoop, we have got some fantastic film of some really, really good kids. I'm going to start off with a guy that might be my new favorite player in the entire class. Jelani Thurman is an absolute freak show. Jelani Thurman, he's right here. He is a absolute freak show of a tight end. I'll bring this over here so it's a lot easier to use. Right here, he's a split out Darren Waller type tight end. You can imagine down at the goal line. They're bringing the heat right here. They're bringing a corner blitz with the will. QB recognizes it. He gets picked up to the best he can. He kind of fades away, throws a jump ball up to the kid. High point. Terrible matchup. I don't know how you leave this kid one-on-one with a Smurf, but they did. But this kid's special, man. I mean, he does this down in the end zone about as easily as you could, but he's a different cat at tight end. He's like a kid that, I think obviously Jeremy Ruckert was incredibly special, but this kid I think is every bit as good, if not better. Plays nasty. Here's his second touchdown. Nasty stiff arm. He plays with a serious attitude, which I love. He's their focal point of their offense. Really nice first week. Really excited about this kid. Here he's playing D end. Obviously he's going to be a tight end for us, but I love guys that play both ways. I love guys that have a defensive mentality. Nevada, what do you think? Odell Thurman's kid, nice little closing speed there. You're pretty high on this kid, aren't you?
Yeah, no, he's a difference maker, and it's hard to get too excited about tight ends at Ohio State for all the obvious reasons. But he's special. I mean, he's got a different kind of athleticism and a different. He brings some different things to the tight end position that we haven't seen in quite some time. To me, the obvious comparisons are like a Ricky Dudley, and he's a big, powerful guy. And as you said, he can play on both sides of the ball. Couldn't be more excited to have him part of the class.
Yeah, he's a freak show. I'm gonna go to this is a kid. Austin Servald is a kid from Lakota East. I don't know if we've ever had a kid from Lakota East. We've had kids from Lakota West. He's playing guard here, week 1, and he is a brute, man. I mean, this guy comes off the rock, and again, pass pro is gonna be everything because he's running the triple option here. So I mean, he's not in much of a balanced stance. He's coming off the rock, but Barry's the guy here. Love the guy's finish, love his leg drive, love guys that run their feet on contact and want to put guys in the ground. He's a nasty dude. I mean, he really, really, he really gets after these guys. Plays defense too, which I love. Because again, I like kids to go both ways because it shows that they're willing to do anything to help the team. They're not about getting the rest. Like I played both ways in high school, and it's tough on big guys especially, but he's pretty good at it. Here he is. He's playing left tackle on this snap. He kind of moves all over the place. He plays left tackle, right guard, just in this film. And here he wheels back on a guy and crunches him. Talk a little bit about Austin Servald. He's a big nasty kid, big interior kid. What do you like about him so far? Here he just crowbars this guy back. I mean, this is a legitimate pancake block. The kid does not get tripped. He does not. This is a literally bend you backwards Orlando Pace pancake block. What do you like about the kid so far, Nevada?
Well, I just, I've always had a soft spot for those Ohio linemen, and he's, the best of the bunch, and he's really a terrific player. And like you said, Lakota East. You haven't heard that. I can't remember ever hearing that with Ohio State. And he's everything that you want in an offensive lineman. He's versatile. Like you said, the question is going to be: is he going to have a Connor Smith issue where he's it isn't as adept at the pass protection? But if you can adapt, if you can adapt to that with his great feet and his strength and his reach and his hand strength, he's going to be a terrific Ohio lineman for us. And it's got everything you like about an offensive lineman. I couldn't be more impressed.
Yeah, he's incredibly nasty there. He knocks the kid's helmet off. Here he is playing D end again. Again, I would probably block him or put a bigger guy on him, but here he is playing D end again. He folds down, closes space, and he's also a kicker, this is absolutely hilarious that they put this on the thing. Boots it out of the end zone, which we don't ever do, so maybe we could sign him up to do that for us. And he punts, which is hilarious because he's like the biggest, he's a giant and he's back there punting the ball and kicking the ball. So, he's a man of many talents. But I love his film. I love his finish. I love how nasty he is. And seems like a pretty good athlete. I love this kid. So this is Kayan Lee. He's out of Georgia. He is a nasty, nasty dude. This is only 2 clips, but you'll see why. He's a big hitter. Cedar Grove High School. This is him down here. His bump and run. I mean, he is not fun to play against. He ties this guy up, runs him off to the sideline. He plays with a crazy attitude. I love it. And then this is the real reason to hit it. Here he is down here. He's 4. He's the boundary corner. They go in motion. They flip off and check it. And he comes into run support and boom, just smacks this kid. And I love it. This is Georgia football. This is great football. So, I love a kid that's not scared to put his nose in there and go knock a dude out. I mean, he knocks this guy backwards. He's obviously he's all fired up because anytime you hit a guy and you go forward and he goes backwards, that's a great feeling. But thoughts on Kayan Lee? I mean, our corners are, we need as many as we can get. It's 5'11". He's a 4-star kid, but I love this kid's ability and his nastiness. What do you think of him, Nevada?
Yeah, I just like you said, those everybody, the elite corners can all cover, but it's the ones that really want to kind of stick their nose up there and be physical and attack the ball carriers and good. To me, that's the prototypical Ohio State type of corners that have excelled, and it's the difference between the good and the great players. And he certainly has all the attributes that you'd want in a great player. And you love the way he hits. He's almost like a safety the way he hits, and can help the team at either side of the ball. Returns kicks as well. So I love that kid. Can't wait to get him on the field here in Ohio State.
And I saved the best for last. This is the kid who I think is probably the number 1 player in the country. Mateo Uiagalelei right here. Similar to this game was in Allen, Texas, and their stadium probably holds like 40,000 people. It looks like it looks like a small NFL stadium. It's unbelievable. Mateo up top, one up. Bosco's the number 1 team in the country. Nice little fade route. Drops it in. Just so incredibly smooth. This is a kid that I don't know if he's going to make it in for the Notre Dame game. It's kind of up in the air. That's a long flight from California. Could be in, but I think it's still up in the air. But your thoughts on Mateo? Obviously, well documented his relationship with Larry Johnson, his father's relationship with Larry Johnson. Your thoughts on Mateo? This will be our last clip.
Yeah, again, great player offensively, great player defensively. Can really help you on either side of the ball. Can do it all. Like everything you'd want out of the number 1 player in the country. I'm trying not to get too excited about him because I think that Ohio State is a long shot to get him because it's everybody in the world is in on this kid, and it's I'm not sure what the ultimate deciding factor is going to be, but his relationship with Larry Johnson is real and strong, and is that enough to carry the day? I guess we'll find out, but it's sure fun to think about right now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a dogfight between USC, which is his boyhood team. I think Oregon is definitely a factor in there. When I had Bank on earlier in the week, Bank said that Oregon might be running with Ohio State 1-2 and USC might be 3rd. that would be really surprising unless Oregon just has like an amazing package for NIL for him. But yeah, he's a kid that I love, and I think that his brother not getting developed the way that they probably would have wanted him to get developed at Clemson might play a role, because I think that player development is the leader in this one more so than NIL money. Now that could change if he gets a huge check from Phil Knight, but who knows? But yeah, him and Jelani are just different cats at tight end. Obviously he'll be a DN for us if we get Mateo, but he's a special cat. So to wrap this thing up, we go watch the end of the Northwestern game. Nevada college football's back. Your thoughts on the next week and what people can expect on BuckeyeScoop.com.
Well, we'll have a lot of information regarding Ohio State's game prep as they kind of fine-tune things down the stretch. Luckily, knock on wood, Ohio State's very healthy going into the game. I feel like the game plan's really, really solid. I think Ryan Day offensively knows what he can do. Jim Knowles has an idea of what he can do, and I think Ohio State's looking to make a great showing, and we'll have step by step what they're doing, getting ready for the game rolling up to Saturday. So hopefully we'll see you guys on Buckeye Scoop. We're having a lot of fun, and you want to be a smarter fan, be a little more informed fan, BuckeyeScoop.com is the place for you to be.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. As always, we are thankful for you guys. The Scoop is growing like crazy. Thank you to you guys that are subscribing on YouTube. Comment, what do you want to see out of the Jim Knowles defense week 1? It has been maybe the biggest coordinator hire that we've had since Tom Herman. I'm super excited about seeing how this defense gets fixed. I think that the kids are playing with confidence. They're excited to play for the guy. And we talk about this on BuckeyeScoop.com. So you tell me, what do you want to see out of Jim Knowles' defense? As always, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We love this content. I'm so excited college football is back. Thank you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. You guys have a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.